For the Honorable Mr. Justice Adrian Sander, President of the Caribbean Court of Justice, the Honorable Mr. Justice Jacob Widd, the Honorable Justice Winston Anderson, the Honorable Madam Justice Maureen Rajnath, the Honorable Mr. Justice Dennis Barrow, all of the Caribbean Court of Justice, and the Honorable Chancellor of the Judiciary, Acting Madam Justice Janet Cummins Edwards, and the Honorable Chief Justice, Acting Madam Justice Roxanne George of the Supreme Court of Judicature, sitting in this opening ceremony of the itinerant sitting of the Caribbean Court of Justice in the Cooperative Republic of Guyana.
Honorable Justice Adrian Saunders, President of the Caribbean Court of Justice, Honorable Judges of the Caribbean Court of Justice, Honorable Chancellor Acting of the Judiciary of Guyana, Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court, Commissioners of Title, Chief Magistrates and Magistrates of Guyana, Honorable Attorney General, Director of Public Prosecutions, General Counsel of the Caribbean Community, and other members of the Inner Bar, members of the Outer Bar, distinguished special invitees, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, and all joining us virtually. It is indeed an honor and privilege to have been given the opportunity to make remarks to commence this auspicious ceremony, to open this itinerant sitting of the Caribbean Court of Justice, known to us simply as the Caribbean Court of Justice. I firstly extend a warm welcome to Guyana, to the Honorable Justice Saunders, President of the CCJ, Justice Witt, Justice Anderson, Justice Rajnath Lee, Justice Barrow, Justice Burgess, Justice Jamadar, and the CCJ's court administration for this, the second sitting of our apex court in our jurisdiction. I vividly recall the last sitting in 2014, which was primarily to bid adieu to the Honorable Justice Desiree Bernard on her honor's then impending retirement from the CCJ. For Guyana, the CCJ is a household name, as the decisions of the court have been impactful not only in relation to individual litigants, but on our nation as a whole. I extend congratulations to St. Lucia and the CCJ on the accession of this CARICOM sister state to the court, making us a family of 5 states that have acceded to the court in its appellate jurisdiction. We look forward to other sister territories embracing the CCJ as their final appellate court, as it ensures greater access to justice for more of the peoples of our region, weaving together the several strands that make up the jurisprudential tapestry that is evident in our region. In this regard, I highlight that the CCJ embraces the diversity of our region, while emphasizing the necessity for inclusion and harmonization as it leads our jurisdictions in ensuring that the rule of law is upheld both in its original and appellate jurisdictions. I also emphasize that the CCJ is not only our apex court rendering final judgments, but it is a champion of judicial and legal education. Through its educational arm, the CCJ Academy for Law, chaired by Justice Anderson, and its support of the Caribbean Association of Judicial Officers, CAJO, which was chaired by President Saunders and is now chaired by Justice Jamadar. The most recent webinar for registered members of CAJO on the topic, Appeal-Proof Judicial Decision-Making, Fantasy or Reality, provided an enriching discussion with the cross-fertilization of views from Bermuda in the north to Guyana in the south. The CCJ also engages with bar associations, the private sector, civil society organizations, and law students, tangibly demonstrating that it is a court of and for the people. We look forward to similar stimulating engagements with the CCJ judges during this visit. The CCJ has set a very high standard, leading us in the advancement of court technology and inspiring us, as it has done, to achieve excellence in court and judicial administration. And in doing so, this enduring regional institution, which has celebrated its 18th anniversary this year, educates, guides, and enjoins us to ensure that in upholding the rule of law, we engender public trust and confidence in our justice systems. Indeed, Guyana is honored to have the Caribbean Court of Justice as its apex court, as it sits in our region, directly serving our people. President Saunders and your honors, once again welcome and best wishes for this itinerant sitting and for productive engagements with the judicial officers and other stakeholders of Guyana. Thank you very much.
Honorable Justice Adrian Saunders, President of the Caribbean Court of Justice, Honorable Judges of the Caribbean Court of Justice, Justices Anderson, Justice Rajnath Lee, and Justice Barrow here now, Honorable Chief Justice, Honorable Attorney General, Judges of the Supreme Court, retired Chancellor, and retired Judges of the Supreme Court of Guyana, General Counsel of CARICOM, Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the Inner Bar, members of the Outer Bar, distinguished Director of Public Prosecution, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, good morning. Today is an important day in the annals of the history of Guyana. It is important because it marks the second sitting of the Caribbean Court of Justice in its itinerant capacity in this dear land of ours. The Caribbean Court of Justice Act of 2004, which is an act to implement the agreement to establish the Caribbean Court of Justice in Guyana, sets out, among others, the original and appellate jurisdiction of the court. From 2004 to now, the court has been working assiduously to carve out a Caribbean jurisprudence that is second to none. And indeed, as the court stated in the case of Boyce and Joseph, the main purpose in establishing this court is to promote the development of a Caribbean jurisprudence, a goal which Caribbean courts are best equipped to pursue. The Caribbean Court of Justice, as you heard earlier from the learned Chief Justice, first sat in its itinerant capacity some 9 years and 4 months ago, almost a decade, at this very venue, the Arthur Chong Conference Center. And here it adjudicated on some cases and held a special sitting to bid farewell to Madam Justice Desiree Bernard, an esteemed jurist of the Caribbean Court of Justice and of Guyana, and a daughter of this soil. Today, as you are aware, the court will preside over 5 matters, cases from Barbados, Dominica, Guyana, and Jamaica. This court is known to be revolutionary, forward-thinking, and even groundbreaking in some of its decisions that it has given over the years. And since its establishment to date, the court has presided in 111 matters for Guyana alone. Litigants, lawyers, and parties have expressed their views on the courts, its decisions, and the opinions given by the court. Some have called it revolutionary, some have said groundbreaking, and some have had their own opinions. Nevertheless, it is still a Caribbean jurisprudence that the Caribbean Court of Justice has fashioned over the years. Their honors have had their dockets dominated with a number of subject areas, including criminal law, land law, constitutional law, and election cases from Guyana. starting with the case of Brent Griffith against the Guyana Revenue in 2006 to the present cases listed for hearing, it is evident that Guyana has contributed significantly to the development of the Caribbean Court of Justice and its jurisprudence. Indeed, one of our daily newspapers did some research, and in 2021, after checking the annual reports of the Caribbean Court, wrote that the cases from Guyana dominated the appeals by the regional court. Much interest is generated whenever a case is sent to the Caribbean Court of Justice. Our lawyers, our litigants, and laypersons alike have a voracious appetite for reading and discussing the judgments of the Caribbean Court of Justice and giving their own opinions. Our contribution to the court, therefore, is both in volume and in content, given the various subject matter and the impact which the decisions have had and the discussions generated by our members of the country. It has been since 1970, in July 3rd, that there was the abolition of appeals to the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. Since then, our local appellate court remained the apex court until the advent of the Caribbean Court of Justice. But on the coming into being of the Caribbean Court of Justice in 2004, we can say that the legal landscape of this dear land of Guyana was transformed tremendously. We know all too well of the saying that courts exist to do justice. And like the book of Amos dictates, let justice run down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. May all the deliberations of this court be imbued in like manner. May the court be vested with Solomonic wisdom, industry, and wise counsel. We are extremely happy that the court is sitting here today so that all can see the humanity of physical presence, an important component in the delivery of justice. Andrew London QC, or now KC, said that justice has a human face. And ladies and gentlemen, today you're seeing the human face of the Caribbean Court of Justice. And Professor Susskind added, the humanity of justice can only be achieved in a physical courtroom. Justice is personal. Physical presence is essential and levels the playing field. The Judiciary of Guyana welcomes the President and the judges of our Apex Court. We also welcome the staff of the Apex Court who are here to serve us and to preside in the very many cases over the next 2 days. We thank you and we welcome you for taking the time to come to Guyana and to preside in the cases. I thank you.
All protocols duly noted and appreciated. I wish first to extend my deepest appreciation on behalf of the Caribbean Court of Justice for the very gracious remarks of your ladyships and the very generous welcome that has been extended to the members and staff of the court, not only by your ladyships, but by everyone with whom we have interacted so far. The warmth of that welcome has reconfirmed my own views that the people of Guyana are among the most hospitable I've encountered. And this morning, the precision and solemnity of the parade put on by the Guyana Police Force under the command of Assistant Commissioner of Police Parasham was like the icing on the cake. Even before COVID-19 descended upon us like a ton of bricks, in order to better facilitate litigants and attorneys alike, the CCJ was in the habit of making very liberal use of the court's technology in order to facilitate virtual court hearings. But since the onset of the pandemic, we have held all our court proceedings in a virtual setting, with us judges and staff alike seated in disparate locations, staring at computer screens, bedecked in suits and not robes. Over the next few days, as we deliver judgment in a criminal appeal from Guyana and hear cases in both the original and appellate jurisdictions of the court, we shall be therefore holding our first in-person sittings for quite some time. And what better place is there for us to return to a common physical space for the hearing of our cases? This vast, certainly in comparison to my country, beautiful, well-endowed corner of South America occupies a very special place in the hearts of the CCJ judges and staff. History will forever record that Guyana was the first country to repose full trust and confidence in this regional project called the Caribbean Court of Justice, when Guyana acceded to the court's appellate jurisdiction from day one of the court's existence. It is only fitting, therefore, that we should take every opportunity that we can to reiterate and demonstrate our commitment to provide accessible, fair, and efficient justice, not just for the people of Guyana, but also for the people and states of the Caribbean community. Our visit to Guyana at this precise time also holds some symbolic significance. CARICOM, which has its headquarters in Guyana, observes its golden anniversary in a few weeks' time. In one of his several academic publications, the late Duke Pollard, a national of this country and a former esteemed judge of the court, referred to the CCJ as the institutional centerpiece of the CARICOM single market and economy. This was and remains a fitting descriptor. The CCJ stands as both a product and a beacon of regional integration. The court is one of the vital means through which the aspirations of the people of the Caribbean community for peace, justice, economic advancement, stability, security can be realized. This visit, therefore, also affords us the opportunity to celebrate 50 years of CARICOM with the country and people that host the community's headquarters. Itinerant sittings such as this one are critical to the perception of justice. A regional apex court cannot function as effectively if it is perceived as a remote, brooding, infallible omnipresence. Judges must avail themselves of appropriate occasions to interface directly with key stakeholders. Throughout the region, people of all walks of life need to have the opportunity to see, from time to time, in flesh and blood, those who pass ultimate judgment on them. Over the next week, therefore, we propose to squeeze in a variety of programs aimed at increasing public awareness about the role of the court, about our methods of work, and also about the place of the court in the operations of the CARICOM single market and economy. In particular, we will embark on an extended program that will include activities to advance an ongoing project that has been developed with CARIForum and the funding of the 11th European Development Fund. This project aims specifically in Guyana to sensitize the judiciary, the bar, and other stakeholders about the CSME and the role of the court and national courts and tribunals within that CSME regime. For the judiciary and the bar, for example, we will facilitate sessions to address the referral process under Article 214 of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, a facility that has been severely underutilized to date. We will also engage with civil society and the public, including a session with students of the University of Guyana, which we understand is this year marking its 60th anniversary. Over the next week, we have scheduled a compact and robust schedule, and we very much look forward to the mutual exchanges and learnings that will no doubt ensue from all of these interactions as we discuss matters concerning the administration of justice and how we can serve the people of Guyana and the community with excellence. In closing, I want to express sincere regrets for the absence of 3 of our judges and a couple of our staff members who, because of flight delays, had to spend all of last night at the airport in Piaco and who only got into Guyana a few hours ago. I wish to express our sincerest gratitude again to your ladyhips, as well as the entire judiciary of Guyana and the various agencies of the state for all the courtesies extended and for the ready willingness to have all the supporting logistical and organizational arrangements put in place to facilitate this itinerant sit-in. We're also thankful to all of you who have joined us today, both in person and virtually, for this ceremonial opening. And I must convey my deepest appreciation to my brother, Justice Anderson, and his team at the CCJ for their yeoman service in leading the organizational work that has made this event a reality. I thank you all for the courtesy of your attention. Thank you very much. I now declare the ceremonial sit-in closed, and this court will now stand adjourned just for a few minutes.
All rise.